to present Austin Faith Dialogue, brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries. In the weeks ahead, you will see these and other programs by various denominations.
This is Austin Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program discussing the important crossroad of religion and life, produced by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTBC-TV. Austin Faith Dialogue highlights the interaction of the religious community with the social and cultural issues throughout our area. Now, today's edition of Austin Faith Dialogue.
Welcome to Austin Faith Dialogue. I'm Carl Gronberg, your host for this edition. Sports has always been important for the American people, and particularly in recent years we've seen women's athletics and student athletes participate more in the athletic programs of various colleges and universities here in Central Texas and throughout our nation. Today on Austin Faith Dialogue, we have three athletes, and we'd like you to meet them at this time. Sharon Baylor, an All-American from Texas A&M University. Holly Graham, a volleyball player for the University of Texas, Lady Longhorns, and Heather Pfluger, a volleyball player for the University of Texas, Lady Longhorns. Really glad to have the three of you on Austin Faith Dialogue. Thank you for being here with us. Heather, let's talk a little bit about how you became involved in athletics. What is your background?
Well, I began playing volleyball in junior high, and I continued into the college level. It's always been a great part of my life. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of some wonderful teams, involved with some wonderful people, wonderful coaches. The fans are always good. I've been very fortunate.
Did you have a lot of support from family and home? Was that part of it? Was your family athletic? Were they interested in sports?
Well, my older sister played athletics, and so I just kind of fell naturally into it when I came to junior high. And then my family always supported me. They didn't push me, but they were always there at the games, cheering me on, and after the losses, there to comfort me.
Holly, how about you? The same story that Heather has? You also had a supportive family?
Yes, pretty much. I had two older brothers that I got to, to step after. And I'd have to say that my parents are still right there all the time.
Did you play only volleyball when you were in high school?
No, I was a three-sport athlete, I guess you could say. I played basketball and did some track and field.
And your hometown?
Devine, Texas.
And that's what level of competition?
That's a 3A school.
Uh-huh. And then did you come to the state tournament to play in any of that level?
Yes, volleyball and basketball. I was at the state tournament. We won 2 times volleyball.
Heather, coming back to you, the same way with you, did you play only volleyball or did you have other athletic interests?
No, I participated in basketball and track also. My senior year in high school, I didn't run track, and that gave me a little bit more time to commit to volleyball so I could get ready for college.
And your hometown?
Arlington, Texas.
One of the things that's also we want to talk about in Austin Faith Dialogue is that your faith backgrounds. You were raised in faith communities. You had a faith influence in your life. And we'd like to talk on this program a little bit about that and how that is carried with onto the level of competition at the University of Texas. Sharon, good to have you on Austin Faith Dialogue. I've watched you grow up, and I know something about you and your life. Tell us a little bit about the sports you played as a youth.
I've played pretty much everything. I started when I was about 6 years old playing soccer. Got heavily involved in that. Once I got to junior high, I ran track. I played volleyball and basketball. That's really when I started my competition seriously. And throughout high school, I played all the sports. Started softball and continued to play soccer and handball in college.
You went to Johnston High School, AISD, here in Austin, and played a lot of basketball over there, and then went on to Texas A&M. When you got to A&M, what athletic scholarship did you receive?
I've got some scholarships for soccer, and I chose A&M because of the environment in the school, the proximity to Austin, because I'm originally from Austin.
When you, the three of you, and I'll throw this out to the three of you, when you were growing up and getting involved in athletics and finding interest and having the family support, did you find that people felt it was a little strange or would indicate a little strange that you as females were interested in athletics?
I found that even to this day I still get some of those old myths that were around while, when my parents were growing up. And
are your parents that old?
Yeah. Don't tell them.
They're going to watch this program and they're going to say, aha.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah, right.
No, you know, I didn't want to be limited, and, you know, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I thought sports was that avenue that I excelled at and I enjoyed, and so I didn't care what anybody thought, men or women.
Holly, do you concur with Sharon on that? The sports brings out the best in you and calls you to rise to your best? Is that a part of the sports?
Yes, I think that's a very good answer. I think that it does make us rise to the occasion.
And also demands a lot of you, I think. It seems like not only do you do well athletically as student athletes, now Sharon, you're a graduate at A&M, and Holly, you and Heather are juniors and you'll be seniors next year. But also the competition brings out the very best that you can offer in terms of your academics. And Heather, talk a little bit about your academic life.
Well, I'm studying to get 2 degrees, one in liberal arts and one in chemistry. And there's a lot of parallels between athletics and academics. Some of the things that I do well on the floor, I also do well in the classroom, setting goals, time management, trying to be consistent. You know, you have to be consistent on the court. You need to be consistent in the classroom with your study habits. And I think there's definitely parallels between those 2 aspects of my life.
Holly, what about you? The same way? Do you think that there's a parallel between the classroom activity, the academics, and sports maybe helping you in that area?
Yes, I believe that there is a big parallel between the 2. And as I'm going to stay in sports for probably most of the rest of my life, I plan to coach and teach, and I think that hopefully I'll be able to carry a lot of this into that in the future.
Speaking of that then, coaching and teaching makes me think about what Heather mentioned, that she's been real fortunate to have good coaches and teachers and role models and that type of thing. And I think your families have been that way, your parents have been that way. Hopefully in the faith communities that you grew up in, you had those types of examples and encouragement. Have you experienced that people have said to you as female women student athletes, right on, we're happy that these stereotypes that Sharon alluded to, are they being broken down, this whole question of gender equity? Is there a change going on in our society, do you think, as women athletes today? Holly, what's your thinking?
Yes, I think there is becoming a change. There's a long way, we have a long way to go, but I think definitely it's improving for women and for girls too.
Sharon, how about you? Do you find the same thing? You went to Texas A&M, and do you think that there's a growing emphasis on women student athletes and their role and their importance in the athletic program at Texas A&M as at the University of Texas?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think women are getting a lot more exposure. What we alluded to earlier with Cheryl Swoops, she's really brought out the potential women have. You know, they're comparing her to Michael Jordan now. And, you know, that's what I guess we've kind of been striving for, but we would like to be mentioned in our own area, not being compared to men really, but having the same publicity, same respect. You know, trying to gain a lot of respect. That's the hard part, because you know we've been seen as inferior for all these years, and that you know we really do have the ability to compete in our own right.
When you talk about competition, you're talking about competition in terms of volleyball, you're talking about competition in basketball, tennis, and those areas. Do you think there'll come the day when women will be competing in other areas where there have been traditionally male domination, male domain? Do you think that women will someday break into sports such as, well, you mentioned soccer, women are involved in soccer now. What about areas such as baseball, football? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think, you know, women are just as dedicated as men, and, you know, if there was a league for women football, for women baseball, there would be plenty of participants. And I think, you know, it deserves a try. And if people are willing to do it, then it should be able to be done.
In other words, the opportunity should be made available
Right.
if they want to do that, if the individual wants to.
Right.
What about that dedication? We talked about dedication in the classroom. Heather, I would imagine that there are some young girls, women athletes who are watching this program, and they're going to say, well, what do I have to do to become an athlete on the level where Heather and Holly are playing at the University of Texas, or where Sharon has played at Texas A&M University? What is your schedule like? It must take a lot out of you to do what you're doing.
Yeah, this is kind of the easy time of the year for us because our regular season is in the fall, but they still keep us plenty busy. We lift weights early in the morning and then have a pretty long practice in the morning, and then we begin our classes at 11. And some of us go to class until 5:36 before we're able to get home and study. And a lot of people say it's a long day, but it's a good structured day, and it's free from distractions, and you have a good set schedule, and you can really focus on what you need to do.
That was something we had mentioned before when we talked about not only a discipline, but the time management that you have to do, and the fewer distraction that you have. Do you ever regret that you can't be like Holly, the average student who might have a little more free time than you have?
I have to say yes, that sometimes I do think about, you know, will they get to maybe go lay out or something in the sun? I just don't have time to do that, maybe, but then I think about skin cancer, and I shouldn't be laying out there anyway.
So you say it really pays off to be so disciplined, right?
Yes, yes.
When you think of yourself being in the role of a teacher and a coach, what are the things that you would like to call your student athletes to do? What are some of the goals you would set for them?
I think attitude. It's hard. Attitude, I guess, is hard to measure in terms of like giving some kind of test to measure attitude. But I think attitude and sportsmanship, honesty, and dedication to whatever it is you're doing, whether it be sports or maybe some people choose music instead of sports, and I think that's a good outlet as well. But I think there's many things that sport can build for you.
You know, I think that as people of faith, this wonderful gift of life that we believe that God has given to us, that what sports has the opportunity, and you as athletes and as role models have the opportunity is to share with the people you influence and touch. Those who come, Heather, you mentioned the fans, your commitment to life, that it's not necessarily just the sport, the game, but it's a deeper commitment, a spiritual commitment, if you will, to life and the reality of this gift of life, and to have an attitude of recognition of this gift of life. Heather, you, I understand from Sharon, I didn't see it, but Sharon said that you were in the paper recently because you were involved with some fifth graders, is that right?
That's another wonderful thing that our sports allows us to do, and that's outreach to the community. Every year we have a fifth grade clinic, and all the fifth graders from the city come and get to spend a little time with each of us and do a little volleyball and make friends among themselves, and it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's a good opportunity for us to present ourselves as role models and try to be a positive influence on the children.
Do you find, is that more pressure on you to have that responsibility of being role models? Because sports is such a big thing. It's a big industry in our society. Do you find it difficult to say, well, not only do I have to hopefully win the games we play, and not only do I have to win in the classroom and do well in the classroom, but now I have to win in relationships with people I don't even know, these youth. Is that more responsibility for you?
Well, it is a responsibility, but I've always tried to view it positively. It's a good way to set goals for yourself, and you have to learn that if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. And I mean, that's a good growing experience right there.
I was never fortunate enough or gifted enough to play on the level where the three of you have played athletically, and yet I've always really loved sports and believe that in the high school level that I played on, I was more of a recipient of things than what I gave to sports. But now you look towards your future, and I'm wondering, Sharon, you've graduated from A&M. You reached the pinnacle in your field of handball and being All-American for 2 years. What's it like to be out of that type of experience of having what Holly and Heather have mentioned, that kind of disciplined lifestyle, and now join the rest of us as, you know, average citizens? You know, how does it feel to leave that type of sports and the organized sports like that? Is there a feeling of liberation?
No, it's a feeling of loss, really. You know, my last semester at A&M, I realized it was coming to an end, and it was sad because, you know, I've played sports, I've been associated with school, high school, junior high, all the way up, and, you know, there's no more school to be associated with, so sports it's harder to play. You have to get involved in community leagues or pickup games, so it's been kind of hard adjusting. You know, it's something you've done since you were 6 years old. It's hard just to give that up. So I've tried to remain active. I've been playing some beach volleyball and some soccer, some co-ed, and some women's leagues. So I continue to remain active, keep working out, keep running, because I don't think I could ever give it up totally.
Do you think that's one of the disparities, maybe between women athletics and men's athletics? Because the men have that opportunity of looking forward to possibly continuing their athletic career if they're good enough in pros. Is there a pro volleyball league for women? Is there a pro basketball league for women? Are there any opportunities for women to go on and play professional sports?
Well, for women's basketball, I know there's leagues in Europe and overseas, so it's harder to get involved in that. Women have to go out of their way to be involved. Men, it's easy.
Well, I want to come back and talk some more about that, and I also like to talk to you about things like diet. But we're going to take a break right now and let them know a little bit about Austin Metropolitan Ministries. Stay with us, please.
Serving Austin means serving you. That has always been the primary goal of Austin Metropolitan Ministries. We are religion in action through the work of these organizations. Each plays a key role in making the capital city a better place to live, but we can't do it alone. Do you have some spare time, talents, or any resources that you can share? If you do, please call AMM at 472-7627, because serving Austin means serving you.
Welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue. We're talking today with 3 student athletes, one of whom is a graduate of Texas A&M University, Sharon Baylor, and the other 2 who are still students at the University of Texas as juniors and looking forward to their senior year, playing competitively on the Lady Longhorns volleyball team, Holly Graham from Devine, Texas, and Heather Pfluger from Arlington, Texas. I love that name, Devine. I don't know if there'd be a place other than Texas where they'd have a city named Devine. I think that's a great name. That's a great name. We've talked in the first part of the program about some of the benefits that you have received from athletics, and one of the things that we had talked about in preparation for the program was the discipline of not only, Heather, you mentioned lifting weights and doing all of that, and I think that's amazing. You go in early in the morning, lift weights, and you mentioned you go to different stations, but I also thought I might ask you a little bit about diet. If you're going to be an athlete, and if you're going to be a healthy human being, I think diet we've become aware of the importance of diet. Sharon, when you were at A&M, did they have you in any type of diet program? Did you have to do something like, did you eat at a training table, a team table, or that type of thing? And then Holly and Heather, I'd like to ask you the same question. What did you experience in diet?
Well, I'd hate to say it, but I probably gained 15 pounds throughout my college career. We really didn't have a diet. We just ate what we felt we wanted to, and we ate at the cafeterias on campus. And some people didn't think cafeteria food was good, but I feel A&M's has the best food. My survey says. And they really did have good quality food.
You're going to get us in trouble here, Sharon, okay? So your dad's at home saying, right on, daughter, right? He would agree with you on that. Holly, how about you and Heather? Do you, I know you don't live on campus, but what about the diet? And does the coach emphasize diet?
Well, he doesn't put us on a strict, I guess he doesn't put us on any diet. They try to educate us and let us know what the best choices are to make, and then we take it from there.
I think that's a really good synopsis of what we've been trying to talk about, is that it is an education. Sports, athletics are an education about helping to make choices. What about, I hear a lot about team tables, training tables. The men's athletics, do they have such a thing? And do other women's teams, the basketball team, are they participating in that?
Yes, the men have their training table, and it was just our freshman year that we were invited in to begin eating there. The meals are prepared a little differently, supposed to be cooked a little healthier, and so you can get a balanced meal. Salad bar is always available, and there's an example of the growing parity between the men and the women, and it was a wonderful opportunity for us to get in there.
And Heather, when you talk about that growing parity, the fact that when you were a freshman, well, that's a couple years ago now, you were invited, the volleyball team was invited, other women's athletic teams, the basketball team was invited to eat at this, and does that help then during your season? Your season starts in in September?
Yes, late August.
Late August. When do you report to school to start practice, or do you stay here all summer long?
A lot of us stay on our own to train, and then we begin practicing as a team a little bit before school starts, 2 or 3 weeks before school starts. But we eat at the training table. Usually everybody on the team eats 5 meals a week there during our competitive season. And that's just a matter of convenience more than anything. We don't have the time to get home and to cook. But yeah, it's amazing. It was quite a shock when the girls came into the men's dining hall. But you know, it's been a couple years now, and we're part of it now, and nobody even thinks about it anymore.
It's been quite a shock for the religious community to see the growing presence of women. Some traditions now have women who are leaders in terms of clergy and ordaining women, and there are some religious traditions that still don't allow that to happen. So I think I can understand that it would be a shock for some of these male athletes to say, what's going on here? Are you guys supposed to be here? And that'll change, though, as people become more familiar with that. That growing parity. Holly, you're going to be coaching people that you'll want to send on, athletes you want to send on to the college level, university level. What are you going to do to encourage female athletes to participate in that growing parity? What can you do to help other coaches in the athletic establishment to open themselves up to this, like it was 2 years ago, the training table? What are some of the things that could be done to sensitize maybe the athletic area to the parity that is coming?
Well, I think the biggest thing we need to do for women and girls is to make it fun for them to participate. In fact, if it's not fun, you know, they need to find something else to do. And that may be a big thing for coaches, that maybe it should be the most important thing for them, is to make it fun for their team.
Do you think that's maybe what you can bring to athletics, in a sense? You've talked about what athletics gives to you and has given to you, and the fact that you feel a loss now that those kind of high school and college days are over academically and athletically, that you can bring that element of fun, that we can have some fun, that we can compete, but we can also enjoy all this, because sometimes we fellas get real serious about this stuff, you know. Is that a possibility? You think that's something that women athletes can bring to this whole experience of athletic competition?
Yes, I think so.
You believe that, don't you, Holly? Because I think you've told me that before, right?
Yes, but I don't want to say that women don't get intense and aren't competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that at all, because I know when we get out there in the court, it's, you know, we have a job to do and business to take care of, and we just try to have a good time while we do it.
Heather, what's been, did you want to add to that at all?
Well, I was just going to say, volleyball's, I don't know, maybe I'm partial, but it's such an exciting sport, and we try to have fun on the court because that excites the fans. And our motto next year is "Feel the excitement," something like that. And so that's our goal next year. I mean, we're going to try to make the fans feel our excitement and walk out on that court ready to play and compete as a group. And
Heather, I see that as a spiritual reality, the excitement again of life, the excitement of playing, and also inviting them not only to feel the excitement, but to join in the excitement, to become a part of what you and your team are experiencing, so there can be kind of that unity between fan and athlete together. What's been highlights? You know, you talked about the fun time you've had and what athletics given to you. What have been what's been a highlight, 1 or 2 highlights in your lives athletically? Heather, what was a highlight besides coming to the University of Texas and meeting Holly? What's been a highlight in your athletic career?
Oh, it would have to be the associations I've made with the team. You know, we have a wonderful group of people on our team, and they're all my best friends. And we win a lot and we lose some, but we're always there together as a group. And
I like that, Heather. You know, that winning and losing. Of course, we would like to get rid of the losing, but the winning and being together as a team, that's been a highlight. Any highlights in terms of victories that stand out in your mind, that either high school or maybe here at the University of Texas?
It's going to be the victory next year when we win the national championship.
Here, here, huh? Well, we say hook 'em horns. Oh, no.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I wish him well.
You wish that. I knew you would, Sharon. How about Holly? What about highlights for you? Something that stands out in your mind. Heather's mentioned about the team and the experience. How about for you?
Gosh, I don't know that there's much more. I know that winning is a great high, but But losing is there. I mean, it happens, and you just try to take from one loss and, you know, build on that, and makes the next win even better. So.
Yeah, and Sharon, for you, what the highlight was becoming All-American, or?
The highlight was probably this past, in '92, February '92, I won the national championship. And I came into it ranked first, and I knew that was going to be the way all year long. So I set a goal for myself and worked really hard to achieve it the whole year. And so it was really a good feeling when my parents came up to Chicago to watch me. It made me a little nervous because I really wanted to win, because I didn't want to make their trip not worthwhile. So that was probably the highlight of my career.
And you know what's really great is you're still Sharon. You know, she's national champion, but she's still Sharon. And it's that whole idea of competition, doing well. And I know you as a woman of faith, growing up as a child of faith, as a teenager of faith, and as a woman of faith. And that's an expression of the totality of your being as a child of God. And I find that to also be very exciting about you as people. What do you think the future is going to be for women's athletics? I know that's a toughie, but you've grown, and Heather, you mentioned that volleyball particularly is getting more and more notoriety. More people are playing volleyball, more people are enjoying volleyball. Mm-hmm. What do you see as the future of women's athletics, and what are some of the things that can help it continue to grow?
Well, I have to think that there's going to be a positive future for women's athletics. You know, our attendance is growing every year, and people are starting to become interested in going and watching women compete. And hopefully someday that'll grow into professional leagues for women. Mm-hmm. And that may be a long way down the road, and it's a building process right now, but I think that's something to aspire to.
You know, I think if they can find more people like you, and I'm sure they're out there, Heather, that's going to happen, that there are going to be more people who are going to say, we want to go and see somebody as fine as Heather Pfluger competing and playing. It's just great to know you as a person. Holly, how about you? What about the experience of women's athletics in the future, and how do you see it growing at the University of Texas and throughout the country?
Well, I see probably the University of Texas maybe, you know, adding more opportunities for women. I know there's a push now to add some teams, some varsity sports, and that's the beginning. You know, we have to start somewhere.
What do we have now in varsity sports at the University of Texas for women athletes? You have volleyball, basketball?
Swimming, track and field, tennis, and golf.
Okay.
And diving.
And
swimming and diving.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
That's okay. We'd think then that they might be adding some more, and it'll depend a lot upon how money is appropriated and that type of experience.
Yeah.
Sharon, what do you think about the future of women's athletics on the collegiate level and professionally?
I think it has a bright future. You know, I think it's always been there. I think people are finally waking up to the fact that women are good, and you know, they do have a great future, and we just need the publicity.
Well, I want you to know, Sharon and Holly and Heather, that this Lutheran pastor has known that women are good for a very long time. And I am just so pleased that I could share an Austin Faith Dialogue. You. Heather, thank you for being here. Best of luck. And Holly, we're hoping that you guys are going to, you know, win that national championship. And Sharon may not agree with this or join me, but I'll say hook 'em horns. And Sharon, we are so proud of you and grateful you're a national champion, but you've always been a champion in our lives. And we want to thank all of you for watching Austin Faith Dialogue, and come out and support these women athletes as they compete. Have a good week. Peace be with you.
For more information, call Austin Metropolitan Ministries at 472-7627.